Hey everybody, this is Psychic Medium Tammy, and today I'm going to talk about how to clear and get rid of and avoid psychic attacks. There's a previous video you might want to watch if you haven't seen it on 10 ways you know you're under a psychic attack or you've been hit by a psychic attack, and it often comes from jealousy and things like that. I went into some detail about that on a previous video, so I wanted to get back to how to get rid of it. People are like, yeah, I've been hit by that. How do I get rid of it, because it can cause you to feel like you've got something on you or a dark cloud, or your house feels prickly and, things like that. You might see shadows, you might have something touching you that you didn't okay that. So I've got 15 ways here. I might think of more as I go along. And I've got a little stone in my hand. I asked Archangel Michael to come in and protect me and my space, in my house, in my office, and all of you that are watching this while we go through this video. And this little stone, there are different stones you can use that help clear negative energy too. Smoke quartz is one. And there's lots of ways that you can do it. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of them. One of the first things that I find is really helpful if it's not a severe, energy, there we go, is sea salt. And I just buy sea salt at the grocery store. It works better than regular salt, but if you don't have sea salt, you can use regular salt. But I literally take the coarse ground sea salt and just, sprinkle it all around my desk, especially if I'm feeling something's been sent at me. I'll sprinkle it all around my bed, across door thresholds, throw it in dark closets, in the basement, in the attic, wherever. Leave it for as long as you can stand it. Some people don't like to leave it because it's kind of gritty on the floor, but really it's more beneficial if you can leave it down for a while and then vacuum it up. Wait 24 hours, wait 48, wait a whole week if you can deal with it, especially in the dark corners. That will really help neutralize and dissolve negative energy. On the same vein as that, those salt lamps, those Himalayan orange salt lamps are really great to have those in any areas that you feel like bad energy accumulates. Sometimes basements are really bad to accumulate negative energy. They get kind of ghosty, and rooms that you don't use very often, things like that. So that's a good place to use salt. That's really clearing. Another thing that I'm a really big fan of with getting rid of any kind of negative energy, and you'll feel it if you feel something like watching you in the room, or you feel something standing over in the corner. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel a prickly energy. There's lots of ways, you might feel I used to live in this house where something would come up and pinch me in the back of the arm when I would stand in this doorway. That was really creepy. There's it depends on where you live sometimes. So, but one of the good things, the best things I found to really dispel negative energy and psychic attacks is the Lord's Prayer. And you can look that up if you don't know it, but I'm a big believer that it works really, really well. I am not Catholic, but I at times say the rosary, because saying the rosary is a way of repeating that energy and just continuing to put that energy out for a long period of time if there's an issue. So I would really recommend saying the Lord's Prayer and saying it out loud with intention, and repeat it several times. Don't just leave it at one time. I would repeat it until you feel the negative energy starting to dissolve. Another good thing to do is bright lights, because these dark things, like dark places, that's why they go into dark corners and closets and basements and things like that. So if you feel something prickly or something bothering you in the middle of the night, turn all the lights on. Really just light the room up. It is going to help. It'll really help chase things away. And I would sprinkle the sea salt, say the Lord's Prayer, and turn the bright lights on. And that sort of thing really does help clear that kind of negative energy out. You may want to also open a door so that negative energy has an exit. You want to give it open the door, out. Tell it to get out, okay? Another thing that's really good to get rid, and I love this method, this is one of my favorites, is playing some sort of instrumental music. Now, music can be used for good or bad, unfortunately. So the kind of music you want is something that's instrumental, that doesn't have words. You want something that has a really high vibe, a high frequency. And one of my favorites to use is harp music, H-A-R-P, harp. Like David played the harp in the Bible to get rid of the bad spirits. It's a thing, it's real. The harp does have some sort of natural ability to get rid of negative energy and bad spirits. That doesn't mean you have to have a harp in the house, but you can certainly Google harp music, and I would say find folk harp music in particular. I think is very, very relaxing and beautiful to listen to, and turn it on and just sleep to it. If you find it relaxing and you can sleep to it, it'll really change the energy. You'll feel it changing the molecules in the room, and it's really, really beneficial. On that same vein, you don't want to listen to music that would invite in any bad spirits. And I guess that's a decision you have to make about what that is. And I have had people say, oh, I don't like harp music, but I think they don't realize there's this gentle healing harp music. You can look up harp therapy music and that sort of thing. I really advise that. If you've been hit by a psychic attack, it's really good to take a warm Epsom salt bath. Mix the salt into the bath water and soak in that. Again, the salt dissolves the negative energy and helps get that off of you. I would recommend, if you've been hit by a psychic attack, the way to get rid of this bad energy, in addition to all these things I've said so far, is reading the Bible out loud. Find a passage, flip it open, ask where you're supposed to go with this, flip it open and read it out loud. The bad spirits often really respect the symbols and the words of the Bible, and it does tend to drive them away. Also wearing a cross, and I know these are very Christian symbols, and some of you may not be open to that, and if you're not, that's okay. You're probably on the wrong video. You may need to find somebody else to help you clear. But this is how I approach clearing, and I very much believe that God and the angels will help drive, not help, but will drive these bad spirits away from you that somebody has sent. Because what these people have sent through their jealousy or whatever, their thought forms, and they're not as strong as God and the angels, especially Archangel Michael is really a great guardian. And you have to really approach this with force. And I have, at times gone around my house reading from the Bible, reciting the Lord's Prayer, and throwing sea salt all at the same time, because sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes there's just some entity that comes up, often, again, from somebody who's gotten angry or feels like something's unfair and things like that. So I'm sure you've experienced that. So if all of that doesn't work for you, you're probably dealing with something of another level that you may need some help with, and you may want to have a professional come and do home clearing. There are people who will come to your home and clear all the energy of your home, and they're very, very good at it. There are also professionals who are psychics and who do like generational clearing. So they do the clearing that goes from you back and looks down the timelines of past lives into generations. So for instance, if you're having a confrontation with somebody or your ex or something like that, that's sending you this bad energy repeatedly, going down those timelines and clearing that energy is really helpful to get into all those past lives and take it all the way back into the back of time to clear it. And often that, does attach into demonic forces that have just been generational and just keep coming through over and over again. And those seem to work very, very well. And usually people have very good experiences and feel better almost instantly. And this can be done remotely. This is not something that somebody has to come, to your location to do. Now, another way, this is not exactly clearing the psychic attack, but to keep it from coming back, okay? A lot of times people get cleared and then it comes right back. It is an issue. There are things that open portals. Everybody has portals in their houses or around in their property and things. One of the things that happens is that certain things can open those portals People who do the generational clearing usually deal with the portals too, but you can open those portals back up by doing things like doing Ouija boards. Really don't recommend Ouija boards. Stay away from those things, okay? They can really let in some bad spirits. I know a lot of people use pendulums to get answers. You know, it's a divination method. I don't recommend that either. It seems like those would be really good, but I do know they've let in some really bad spirits for people. Communicating with ETs. I know a lot of people are a big fan of ETs, etc. I do not recommend it. They can often be disguised as or are demons. I'm just going to say it out loud. I think you should stay away from ET communication altogether, contact. There's especially the Greys. They're really bad to come haunt people. They cause all kinds of trouble. Don't go there. Don't open that up. Also, sometimes people really like to go on ghost hunts, and you know, I know some people don't have any problem with it, but they can follow you home. I don't recommend ghost hunting, especially going into old asylums, old hospitals, places like, it gives me the creeps just talking about it. I get all prickly just talking about it. Would really, especially if you have psychic abilities yourself or you are an empath, you should stay away from ghost hunting and you should stay out of places like that. And along that line of thinking, also don't watch horror movies. Don't watch movies about, you know, people who are possessed, like The Exorcist, things like that. Those are just a setup for disaster. I have known even of an instance where a child really wanted to be a mermaid and watched this whole documentary on mermaids. And I'm not kidding you, a mermaid spirit took her over. And she had to be like exorcised to get rid of this mermaid spirit. This stuff is real. I know you think it's in your TV or whatever, but it opens the door right up to bad spirits. So don't watch horror movies, especially if you're having a problem with ghosts in your house and things like that. Stay away from that stuff. Don't let anybody come in and bring it in. Don't have guests over that watch that. Avoidance of a lot of this and not opening the portals will help a lot. Now, there's a few more things I want to mention. Another thing that really attracts bad spirits and ghosts and demons and things like that are drugs, alcohol, negative people, all sorts of addictions, pornography, gambling, any kind of addiction. And it doesn't have to be you doing this. This can be somebody you're involved with who's doing this, and it could be you don't even know about it. But if you're finding you've got a problem every time you've been with a certain person, or you went out to dinner with a certain person, or you had this person over or something, and suddenly your house is feeling all prickly or something's bothering you, it could be that it's their attachment that's attached to the drugs, alcohol, addictions, things like that, that are trying to attack your light. So if you are a person of the light, and I assume you are if you're listening to this, you have to be careful of who you hang out with. You have to be really, really careful about that, because this dark stuff does like light, and it will come after you. This is, not everybody may agree with this, but my personal experience has been, if you're going to move, or if you're already living there in an address that adds up to an 11, I would avoid 11 addresses. 11 houses are known to be trouble. 11 addresses for businesses are known to be bankrupt a lot of times. And 11 addresses just seem to bring in a lot of bad psychic energy. You know, it is the number of the psychic, but most people can't handle that level of psychic activity. And even me as a psychic, I've lived in several 11 houses myself, which is why I speak from experience on this. I would never, ever live in one again. It is just too much, especially if you're psychic. It is just too much spin of energy. And I warn people about this all the time. It's not that the number 11 is bad, but 11 addresses. So if your house adds up to an 11, you know, I would avoid it. Like if you live at number 74, you know, Peanut Lane, that's going to be an 11 house, 7 plus 4. So I would do a lot of clearing of the house. You know, it may not be bothering you if you're not kind of a medium anyway, you know, have your natural empath and psychic abilities, but Anyway, just watch out for that. House numbers are a real thing. They're a real thing. You can look those up online. I might do a video on that. It would be interesting. Another way that you can get rid of and clear psychic attacks, depending on the severity, and I have known people that have had it to this severity, is call a priest. I'm not even kidding. You may need to call a priest and have them really clear you and your house to get rid of it. Sometimes it is that bad. There is also, you should get rid of any old items that are connected to anyone negative. Like if you had a really bad breakup with your ex and some of his stuff's still in your house, it may feel haunted. You know, it may feel like his demons are coming and attaching to his stuff. And it's really important to get rid of it. You know, paint the room, sea salt the room, get rid of old stuff. There was an item that someone that I was sharing a house with a long time ago brought home, a chest, like a treasure chest kind of thing, that supposedly belonged, it was a slave chest. And it was very, very old. It still had like the slave papers in it and things like that. Anyway, this thing came in the house, and that night, I mean, the house just was crazy haunted. It was so scary. There was like stuff flying around the room and noises and bangs, and oh, that thing went out the window the next day. They got rid of that. But that's how much something can be attached. I'm getting like all prickly and tingly just thinking about that. That was it was scary. It was very, very scary for both of us. So just watch out for things that can hold on to old energy, and you probably don't want that in your house because it will open portals. You don't want those portals open. And the last thing is, if you are dealing with some sort of demonic presence that's around you and it's, you know, touching you or making bumps in the night or showing up as shadows or talking to you, whatever it's doing, do not entertain it. And I can't say this strongly enough to you. Do not talk to it. Do not ask its name. Do not ask its name. Do not listen to it. Do everything you can to drown it out. Turn the lights on, turn loud music on, get rid of it. Anything you can do to not acknowledge it. You don't want to acknowledge it because it will attach to you. So be really careful with that. So hopefully this has helped. I'll probably think of 10 more things after I end this video, but I hope this has helped you with how to clear psychic attacks and how to avoid getting them in the first place. So take good care, go sprinkle your sea salt, and you guys have a good day, okay? Thanks a lot.